Senior Kindergarten workshop. My name is Eva Bostak. I'm the coordinator of the Roosevelt Island Parents Network, for those of you who don't know me, but I think everybody does. I just want to make a quick reminder that this event is being recorded by Rick for the Roosevelt Island online blog. I hope everybody is fine with that. We asked the speakers up front and are very thankful to Rick for being here. I also want to thank you, the Roosevelt Island Jewish congregation, and especially the Main Street Swedes. Where is Scott? I don't see him. He has to go. He will be back. So please help yourself to refreshments. This is our second annual workshop. I also want to thank Jen, who designed the flyer for us. You probably have seen the colorful flyer around the island. And we have a whole number of parents here. Welcome everybody who are willing to tell you about their experience with this maybe sometimes frustrating and difficult process, which in the end worked out. So that's the good news. And yes, so probably we are going to freak you out a little bit, but hopefully also give you a little bit of knowledge and some resources. I don't know if you were able to print the handout which we send around. If not, you can email me with me afterwards. We have a whole handout thanks to Emily, who is the director of the 475 MSK Citywide Horizons Children's Center. So we have a handout with resources and deadlines depending on which types of schools you are thinking about for a child. The structure of today is we will first have Michael give a short introduction to the whole topic, and then all the speakers prepared short statements with their key message they want to tell you. We have had a good experience with this format last year. Maybe it took away some of the questions already, or it just made more room for other questions afterwards. So we will just see, we have different parents with different schools they can talk about. Yes, and then afterwards, everybody will make their short statement, and afterwards it will be questions and answers. Feel free to ask anything. All right.
Okay, so thanks for coming, everybody. This is our second one, so it's good to see everybody here. And I am going to give you sort of a brief overview, and hopefully other people will sort of flesh things out, because there are so many choices in New York that it can be a little overwhelming. So basically, there are public schools and there are private schools. Okay, so public schools, there are a few different forms. There are regular zone schools, which our zone is 217, and that you can just go, well, not anymore, but they have to take you. Then there are unzoned choice schools that are regular public schools, and examples of those are Ella Baker, Midtown West, and Tribeca Learning Center, which are all in District 2. The island belongs to District 2. District 2 runs all the way from about 96th Street on the Upper East Side, down through Chinatown, Tribeca, sort of all of Lower Manhattan, except for a part of the Lower East Side, which is District 1. Then there's gifted and talented programs. So gifted and talented programs are all throughout District 2, and there are 7, I think, District 2 G&T programs. 217 has one of them. And you have to take a test, or your child has to take a test when they are 4 years old to get into one of these programs. There are additionally, in gifted and talented, there are the 7 district schools, but there are also 5 citywide schools located in all of New York City. So there's 3 in Manhattan, 1 in Queens, and 1 in Brooklyn. And generally you have to score 99, or your child has to score 99 on the test to get into one of the citywides. The nice thing about citywide schools is that they are generally K through 8 or K through 12, whereas most of the other elementary schools are K through 5. And then lastly, in terms of public schools, there are charter schools. So charter schools are not regular public schools. They're not run by the DOE. They are run by sort of independent organizations. And there are a few all over the city. The one that sort of there's the most buzz about are the Success Academy charter schools, which are run by Eva Moskowitz, and people have different feelings about those schools. But they, the process to get into one of those is simply by filling out an online application. And you should probably tour any school that you might be interested in sending your child to. Then there are private schools, and the private school encompasses both independent schools, like Eunice, Dalton, Chapin, single-sex male, single-sex female. There are also some private schools in Queens that hopefully we're going to have somebody talking about later. And then there are parochial schools, which are either Catholic schools, Jewish schools, any kind of sort of religious flavor school. So in those you have to apply through the schools. There's not sort of a centralized process. Okay, so that's, I think, basically the overview. For me, I have the blonde boy who was hanging out here and took way too many brownies. He's in 4th grade at a Citywide school in Queens. And then I have a younger daughter who's in 1st grade who is at a charter school. And it's a dual language, Hebrew-English charter school. And I speak Hebrew. My husband does not, so my kids don't speak Hebrew. But she's learning how to speak Hebrew in school, and now we have our own special language together, which is nice. So one thing to know is that the process can be very long, and you may get offers at different schools into September, late August, September, and so you really have to think about what you want for your child, and would you be willing to change them the 1st or 2nd day of school, or even a few weeks into school. So my son actually took Matt's daughter's place, I think, at the STEM program in Queens. All right. So if you have any questions, I can talk about charter and JT later.
Thank you, Michal. Why don't we just proceed maybe with the next speaker, please? I would love to introduce you, but my computer is done, so I'll do it in 2 seconds. And we just start.
Okay. I'll stand here so I don't Where's my stage? Hi everybody. Thank you so much, Ava and Michal, and the Parents Network for inviting me here today. My name is Cathy Shields. I've been living on Roosevelt Island for over 7 years. We're a UN family, and I currently have a 4th grader who is at Eunice, the UN International School, and I have a 2nd grader, which my son is at a special ed private school downtown. So I'm actually going to cover 2 areas today. I'm going to cover the Eunice, the private school side of things, and I'm also going to talk about IEPs. I'm just wondering, is there any parent here who currently has an IEP for their child?
Or knows what those initials mean?
I don't. You don't know. Okay, so basically if your child is in some way delayed in their development, they may, through their school system, get an IEP plan, which is an individualized education program. So some children, maybe in your current schools right now, they might have like a SEAT, like an extra person who sits with them and helps them and things like that. So that's what an IEP stands for. So I have actually been through the whole process of an IEP because our son was diagnosed when he was 2. So I've been through the EI process, I've been through the CPSE process, and I'm finally made it through the gate, and I'm now in the CSE process. So again, I don't want to take up the time, so there doesn't seem to be a parent here who needs that information, but if anybody does want, if you want me to talk about it, I'm welcome to.
Why don't you tell us about Eunice then? Maybe?
Okay, I'll start with Eunice. Okay, so Eunice is a private independent school. They have 2 campuses. In New York, we have one in Queens, which is in Jamaica, and then the other one is in Manhattan. The school covers grades from kindergarten to 12th grade. And in the 11th grade, some of the students are offered the International Baccalaureate, which we, you know, as a UN family, for us, it was a clear winner for us, because with my husband's job, if he's reassigned somewhere else or reposted somewhere else, my daughter's curriculum wouldn't change that much. So, and again, we're a UN family, and Eunice does have a very international curriculum, and therefore they also do it in the spirit of the UN Charter, and therefore it's very important that, you know, our daughter runs with the UN Charter. So it's a wonderful environment. It's like Roosevelt Island basically. It's a very international community. The school has a very strong PTA. Fundraising is encouraged. You're encouraged to take part, but not similar to other private schools. You're not, can I say, forced to fundraise, but you know, you're encouraged to take part and do your part. They have wonderful celebrations throughout the year. They have the UN Day, they have Peace Days. It's just a very nice environment, and we're very happy with it overall. There is an application process in that first you have to tour, and then if you go to the Eunice website, it's eunice.org. There's a different process. You have to do application. Your current school and teachers would have to fill in application forms. When my daughter applied, we had to do the ERB testing, but they don't need that right now. I don't know why, but maybe that's something you'd have to check with Eunice. But currently on their website, they're not asking for your ERB or any other independent testing. They look at your child as they are right now. The tuition is over 30,000, and I'll let you take that in. But they do sponsorships, and you know, there's a whole scholarship process that you can go through with that. I think that's everything. In terms of the IEP, it's a very daunting process. You know, if your child has any sort of special needs, my only advice to parents who do have children with special needs, or feel that not necessarily your child would have a known disability, but maybe is very something like ADHD or any other sort of delay with your child, having a team behind you and having knowledge is the one thing that got me and my husband and our whole family through the whole process for kindergarten for our son. I honestly feel if we did not have that team behind us, I probably wouldn't be standing here today, because besides the whole thing of trying to get your child into a school, trying to get your child into the most appropriate setting for your child is the hardest thing, because we all want to get the best schools in the city, we all want the best spots, we want the best for our child. But if your child needs a particular teaching system or method, or it needs to be in a particular classroom size, or the school can offer occupational therapy, speech, physical therapy, if those are the things that you need and you just can't find it, it can be heartbreaking. So my only advice is to look forward to the year ahead, but certainly get a team behind you. Get talking to your teachers, let them have their reports ready. If you're working with therapists currently with your children, get them to have up-to-date reports. So when you finally do, when your child goes through the Turning 5 process, that you can go to the Board of Ed and say, this is what we need for my child to be successful. And the Board of Ed are not evil. People have had their issues with them. They're not evil, but from year to year, it can change. Budgets change, and we have been very blessed that all our meetings with the Board of Ed have gone very smoothly. And my son is doing really well today. So I don't want to hold up anymore, but if anyone wants to ask me any further questions, I'm available. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Yes, so this is for all speakers. If you have questions afterwards, feel free to email me, and I will put you in touch with them. And one more comment, I think most of the private schools do not do the ERB testing anymore, because everybody was doing it and it was the same for everyone. So they basically, as you said, look at your child right now and here, which can be a good or a bad thing. All right, thank you, Cathy.
What was ERB? I don't know.
It's a standardized test.
It was a standardized test for private schools, which they all pretty much used in the past years. I just stopped using right now. So right now it's more.
And are they going to keep using the GNT test, or is that? Okay.
Yeah, we are just going to, mention